Tom Griffin, guest production run director for the PowerCube version 6. Tom, tell us about this particular step.
Okay, well this is as far as wiring, and we're going to have a lot of wiring to do. It'll be pretty simple this time though. And I want to show you, we start out by stripping a little bit of end off of the wire.
And these are for the connectors to the engine for all the entire wiring harness, right?
And we have to construct the wiring harness and get it set up before we install it in there. So let me give you an example of how these connectors are going to work. These are little connectors right here, and they go into the connector blocks like this one. This is the one that goes in the engine. The engine comes supplied with a block like this. It already has wires on it. So we have to match our PowerCube wiring to the engine block like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we'll do is these little connectors go up inside this one so that it can mate with the ones that are already in the Briggs & Stratton engine as they ship it.
Mm-hmm.
So before we do that, though, we have to take the connector as it is and then separate it from the carrier. They have a little strip right there. And then very simply we just insert the wire into this other part of the connector like that. And then we have a Paladin tool here, and this is a 1300 series. This is a barrel crimper, and it has a die that's in here that's just for this. And so I choose the one die that fits most closely,
Mm-hmm.
and then insert the connector in there. Try to keep the thing from falling off. This is gravity assist crimping here. And so we just insert it into the right groove
Mm-hmm.
and then crimp down every time. And so what that does is it makes a really nice crimp on the side of the connector right there.
You have to get it at the end of the wire, or like?
Yeah, and this one I didn't put it in there quite far enough because it's supposed to have two barbs on the ends. Like you can see on this one, it has two barbs on the sides over there. So these barbs are what holds it inside the connector in
Mm-hmm.
here. And so this
Once you
one,
put it in the connector, you can't take it out?
oh, this is done, and so I've ruined this one, so I'll just cut it off, and we can try again. But after doing it a few times, you'll get the gist of it. Help if I wear some glasses
So
too.
how much do you take off? About a 1/4 inch?
It's about a 1/4 inch, right? And so then we just insert it into the connector, and then that whole assembly into the barrel crimper, and it puts a nice crimp on the end of it.
And you messed up the other one because you squished down the second barb.
Right,
you did?
and it didn't go in there far enough. Okay, and see this
How do you
one-
know if it's far enough in?
Well, the wire has to go in here, and it has to go. These two things need to bend it a little bit apart, but it has to go inside this hole right there.
And just like the 1/4, it's more like 3/16 of an inch. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, I think we need a little bit more. All right. Let me back up. We'll get a little bit more. That was 3/16, but I think we need a little bit. Yeah. Like this is a full 1/4 right here.
Guest production run director.
Yeah. There we are. This is much better now. You see how it's a little bit longer, and we have a part of the wire goes up inside this part of the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we can take it, and we're going to want to put it in this part of the crimper right there. And so we want the barbs to stick out from the
So
other side.
have the barbs
Yeah.
sticking out, so when you press down on it, you just
So
crimp
when
the
you
wire,
crimp it-
not the
And
barbs.
so we go all the way down, and we have the other side sticking out over here.
And the other side is not also
Right.
not
But see, what
punched
it
down.
did is it put an indentation right here, so it crimped really good into the wire, and it also crimped these other things over there. So I go and take my other regular crimpers
And finish it off.
and I'll finish it off like that. I'll crimp this down. I'll also crimp the other part here for some strain relief on the insulation of the wire. And that's it. And we're done.
Okay, and once you put it into the connector, you can't take it out, so you can only do that once, right? Make sure you get into the right connector? Or can you take it out?
Essentially, yeah, I have taken it out, but it's
Messy?
not- Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Okay, so don't put
And
it
so
in
you
yet, or-
basically, this is the part that matches with the engine. You can see it has little D-shaped connectors, the plastic on there, and the part where the connectors go in, it's only got the round ones.
So it says,
So we put this into the round one, and you push it in all the way until it comes almost to the top of this connector.
so we can put all the wiring through the 6-fold plug? All the wiring, including the fan, everything else, right?
No. You maybe use a second one, but...
Can we get a larger one with more than 6? Because we want to keep it simple as possible.
See, part of the goal is that the engine that comes from Briggs & Stratton, it already has this. And so what we want is we want to match what they already have.
Okay.
And so then we could use a second connector for connecting other wiring if we want.
Down the road, do we want to remove the one from the Briggs & Stratton and use those 6 and anything else that we have so you can just use one connector, or it doesn't make sense?
I don't think so. I would prefer to keep the Briggs & Stratton connector and match with theirs, because that's an industry standard.
Okay, but you might have different engines, so for purpose of versatility, you might have to start by cutting something off, because it's not going to be the same on all engines, right? Or no?
Well, the only engines I've dealt with are these Briggs & Strattons, and they all have...
And they all have that same connector?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, thanks. So that's the connector for the electrical harness.